This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, cool. So one thing, we did the podcast on Saturday last week, and something like shocking happened on. Well, it's not shocking. You said we were talking about this right before, and you were like, "Oh, I wanted to bring this up," and I was thinking about it too because in the lead up to this, did you hear about the George Clooney thing?
Yeah, op-ed.
I didn't read it though. Did you read it?
No, I haven't read it.
Okay, yeah. I was like, who cares? But I heard that he was advocating for Biden to step down, and also I saw Obama mention it. So I was like, okay, there's a weird story.
Yeah, they talk about it on the radio too. They were also thinking that I think that George Clooney's op-ed may, they think, it's just on the radio, that he probably spoke to Obama as well to get the approval to put this out there.
Really?
It's not confirmed, but it's just you're not going to just put it out there by yourself. I'm sure he's talked to other people within the party.
Right, because you don't want to be shocked and be like, wait, what? This guy went total rogue on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true, actually. You're right.
But the other thing, too, is whoever set up that first debate, it was because debates between the two parties don't happen till September.
Okay.
Once the nominees have been picked.
Okay.
So to have a very early debate was
interesting.
Was odd.
It's okay, yeah. Oh, maybe they were testing the field. They're like, is this guy good to do a little debate? You know what I mean? It's still you're kind of if I throw this out now, then I can gauge it better, and then I can make my switch.
Because if it happened, if this debate happened in September.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
it's too late. No, it's too late. It's already the DNC.
Too close to the voting, right?
No, but not just that. The DNC's done. The nominee pick has been finished.
Oh, interesting. So it's a strategic play.
Yeah, it was can you do it? And let's see if he can. And then he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So that's what pushed the whole. We might have to change the person.
Yeah. Okay. We were actually talking about something similar last week. You and I off the podcast when we were done about Trudeau and the liberals and how if the conservatives are in power, you can kind of play this game where you're like, oh, let him think that we're going to do it, and then we're just going to cancel the bill. Now he looks stupid in front of everyone because it didn't work out. It's we don't realize that politics is multi-level chess on both ends. You know what I mean? That little move right there, let's just throw him out. Oh, it's not good. All right, let's make our switch right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's we're so not privy to the back end strategy that's going on. And then when these things happen, you're kind of oh, yeah, that you think it's more of a shock, but to them it was a step-by-step process, a chess game. You know
Yeah. So, but it's also still risky too, right? Being a new person versus an incumbent.
Okay, I saw this thing about they're democracy's dead. I'm getting fed a lot of not conservative, right-wing memes now.
Sure.
But a lot of them make a lot of sense to me. You know, the ones I send you and in the group chats, and one of them was democracy's dead. Says the Democratic Party, but then they're but then they just put in somebody who nobody voted for. Nobody voted Kamala Harris to be running.
So they vote for delegates, the delegates vote on who the nominee ends
No,
up becoming, right?
like like us,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we were voting for Biden. Well, not us. I mean, we're not American,
Sure.
but like the regular person votes for like Biden, right?
Okay.
And then like when you get Kamala, you're like, wait, but I wanted Biden. Why are we
Yeah,
getting this
that's
now?
so. There's a difference between primary voting. I get that. That if he stepped out earlier, there would have been a bigger primary,
Exactly. Right. Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But he stepped out closer to the end. Even if something did happen to Biden, it would have still been Kamala who takes that position, anyways.
Right. For sure. No, totally. Yeah. And that's why it's important who you choose as your like VP and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like,
Like it's very
yeah.
interesting because I'm watching that. Like, who is her VP going to be? Which is
Mm.
what makes a big difference too. Because there's been a lot of issues. What I've been seeing with JD Vance, I don't know if Trump is happy with him.
Why? What happened?
Well, he's
Like
not
he's like
his
against.
yeah his energy isn't the same. Isn't like what they thought it would end up
Oh, so he's
being.
gonna switch. He's like, oh, let
I
me
don't know if
just.
they can switch, but there's some insider things that are within his own like Trump camp that he's not happy with JD Vance. So,
Oh, that's
and also
interesting.
the other thing is this too, right? Their strategy was to go because they were going to face Biden,
Right.
so they had that plan in mind.
Right. 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 You have like
So
your like
if he had picked Nikki Haley, there's a chance that Trump could win. Uh, if
oh.
Kamala was the one that ends up being chosen, right? So if him and Nikki Haley, because Nikki Haley's like in the centrist kind of thing.
Right. Right. Okay.
So now they picked JD Vance, but they didn't see this coming, so they weren't ready. They don't have like a plan to how to handle
Right.
Kamala.
Totally. Totally. You know what's funny? I was listening to Francis Ngannou on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he beat he almost like people are like, oh, he beat the heavyweight champion in boxing, right? And then one thing that he said was, you didn't have any tape to study me for like a boxing
Sure.
match.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's kind
yeah.
of like this, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
have like, okay,
it's
with
that.
all of this like fodder, let's get ready. And then you switch up the opponent now and you're like, oh dude, I wasn't prepared for this one. I was like, you know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
boxing
yeah, yeah,
match
yeah, yeah,
even.
yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, go ahead.
So that like what I'm seeing, at least in my internet sphere, is the energy level has increased on the Democratic side
Okay.
since the dropout of Biden.
But energy level, like a lot of people are pushing for Kamala now, or what do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that with AOC and stuff, and like she's like, oh, well, we need to band together. Like the Democratic people that I
Yeah, and
follow, they're
like
like pushing
yeah,
her.
yeah, it's and it comes down to slogans too. It's like
The thing she keeps repeating though, I'm like, what are we saying right now?
which one?
That's I don't remember what it is like. We cannot be limited by the past of our going
Yeah,
forward. We cannot be brought back by our past, or something like that.
yeah.
And then she keeps repeating it over and over.
There's a slogan in like I forgot the exact phrase, but she came across it by accident when she was speaking, I think, and like people were
Now
saying,
she
well,
just repeats it like over and over.
it's like the like Obama time, right? Like what was his slogan? Like
Change.
change, right? That was the main thing. So we're not going back. We're not going back. Like that's like the main thing from
Kamala.
Kamala one. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't know. It just seems like to me, it still seems like a joke. Like we haven't leveled up at all. Like switching to her, it's like, I don't know. Is it really better? Have you shown any all right, if you threw like Michelle Obama there, I'd be like, okay, let's you conduct yourself well. You seem very well spoken, et cetera, right? But like with Kamala Harris, I'm kind of like, were you like his secondary pick to get a specific voter? Like what has she done that's like, oh yeah, this is pretty impressive? Or was she picked simply because he's like Biden was like let me pick somebody that I know I'll get like the female vote. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. There's a whole bunch of plans and how you pick your VP, but I don't remember at the beginning when he did that. But
I remember like
as
people
per
crying.
as per her like what do you call credentials or whatever,
Yeah.
she's pretty. She was a DA and of California and things like that. So she knows how to do. She
But she
knows
doesn't
she's in the world
scream.
of politics.
Yeah, but she doesn't scream like powerful leader to me.
I think she knows how to do her job well. I don't know if she's as well at speaking well in like
But like,
off the cuff kind of thing.
okay, but that's a huge part of the job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like,
That's a huge part of the job to the public, but in as if you can get the job done, that's a different level, right?
but has she done like throughout these years, like everyone's been saying, where's Kamala? Because you know what I mean? Like I haven't heard anything where it's like she's really out there doing some stuff. Like, there's
Yeah, but there's
nothing.
difference between you have to understand what's a VP job, right? Like when Obama was there,
uh
were people saying that about Biden as a VP?
no, but like you have because I remember like like videos of little girls crying when she was like the VP. They were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, I'm so inspired. You made it to like a high level of office, whatever, whatever." But it's like, what are you doing? Like what I mean is, if you look at Clinton, if you look at Obama, you're like, "Oh yeah, these people are like legit." But I didn't, I don't get that from Biden. I actually got that from Trump, but in like a negative way. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this guy's legit, but is he really the best leader? Is America kind of like a joke that they got a reality star? Is it kind of cool because they got a regular person, not an actual politician? You know what I mean? Like there are these standout here's actually what it is. So Patrick Bet David, I'm pretty sure he's the one who brought it up. He's like brand power. So when Obama won, we were like change. He was like on all these posters and like, you know what I mean? Like there was like some brand
Yeah.
power. And then you have like Clinton. He was in The Simpsons. He was like the saxophone playing
Mm-hmm.
president. There's like brand there. But there's a bunch of presidents. You're like, who was that? Was that a person? I don't remember. Oh, George W. Bush. You're like, oh, he's like stupid. Not that he's stupid, but like
Sure.
there's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
brand
yeah.
recognition,
No, no, I get that. Yeah, I
you know?
wonder if that's how if that happens once they get into office, or you know what I mean? Like no one's. Uh,
Well, Obama's one was before because they were doing like the posters and like Shepard Fairey made his poster. It's a change, like
yeah, but
blue and
there
red
was a
one.
different thing with Obama, right? He was being the first black
Black president.
American.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah,
But you see star power. There's like brand, but I'm just not getting that from Kamala. It's like it to me, it feels like the jokes about the DEI hire. You're like, really? You're not like, I'm not like, oh,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, with Biden, I was like, ooh, versus like, oh, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like there's a subtle, not to knock it, but it's like, it's a different, like, if you are listening to this and you're like, what are you saying? That's so negative. It's like, no, really? You really get like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
them?
Yeah. But it's been
You know what I'm
like that.
saying?
No, no, I get that, but that's like I saw it's like a meme which was pretty good, which is the Republicans. It's always been either it was like one year it was just woke, then CRT is the complaint, which is critical race
CRT.
theory.
What's
Then
that?
that's all in the U.S.
I love this thumbs up thing when you do a thumbs up on Zoom and
Oh,
auto
really? It
emojis.
does that?
Yeah,
Okay.
you see that? It happens in Google too. If you do a thumbs up, it'll
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
And something else, and then now it's DEI. Like, there's always been something
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that they
totally.
try to meme with each election year.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, okay. Like they're like some like bandwagon that everyone can be a part of.
Yeah,
But I don't know, it's like for this one, like this election, it wasn't like when the first time that Biden was going against Trump, you're like, oh, like all this massive whatever. But I feel like this massive hype. But I feel like with this more recent one, it was kind of like so under the radar. I didn't even know it was happening, you know? It was
yeah,
like,
because it's two old guys,
yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's
right?
exactly what I
It was
mean.
two old guys, and now there's the energy is there because there's at least a young person and not an old person.
But okay, totally. I agree with you, but I feel like there's a lot of fodder that Trump can burn her with. Like if he
He
goes
hasn't
with like
figured
the
that out yet,
memes,
though. That's the thing.
I feel like soon. Like I
We'll
feel like when
see.
they actually
Yeah,
debate,
when they, yeah. But yeah, I know, I understand that. But until when he finds that out, because he hasn't figured that out yet. So that whatever he's trying to do hasn't stuck per se.
but like when they meet face to face, I feel like he'll have something. Like you know how like I think the thing for her would be like don't fall into his game. Because you know when he was like talking about golf swings and then Biden was talking about like my golf swings better. I'm like, wow, this is dumb. But you're just playing his game. Like you're making it
Yeah,
about nothing.
there's some, yeah, even with that, with the debate thing, because they had agreed already a debate, as in Trump and Biden, to a specific date, and he wants to back out of that. He's doesn't want to face Kamala on whatever that network was. Right? He's just trying
Oh,
to
interesting.
shift it to like, oh, I don't want to do this debate, or he's not saying I don't want to do this. I want to do it on Fox or something.
Okay, okay.
Right? So he sees that there's a, at least that side, he probably has a bit more leeway on Fox
On Fox, yeah, yeah, yeah.
than I think CBS or whatever the other network was that he first agreed to.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not thrilled by this one. Are you excited now? Are you like, oh, it's cool?
No, no, I'm just seeing, like, I'm just watching. I don't know how they were going to react, but the fact
Oh,
that,
right, right, right.
like, seeing
Yeah.
that energy level like up as soon as that shift happened, was, you
Mm.
noticed it.
Yeah, but okay, but I felt for me, it didn't feel like an energy shift. It felt like a desperation move. Like I
No,
wasn't like,
no, because it was up to Biden to, because he could still have stayed,
no,
right?
no, totally, totally. But it's like, okay, this is all we got, guys. We got to work together. Like we need this. Like it still feels like we just need Trump out of office. Like let's just rally behind this new person.
Mm-hmm. That
You
happened
know,
after, yeah, but it was like there was a moment like, is Kamala going to be that person, or is there going to be like a quick primary during the DNC and the
but
delegates
wi-
vote?
but it's too late in the game. Like if you did the primary, it's like, okay, how do we rebuild? Because it's just about branding. Like this whole thing's like a marketing thing, right? Like who can we get the
That's
populace
the
to
thing.
be
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's going to be difficult because the name recognition is, if other people are
low for everyone
running.
else? Like
Yeah,
who else are you gonna go with? You know what I mean?
exactly.
So like I really feel like this is a
If, yeah,
branding
if
thing.
Biden did this in January, there would be no, there would have been a
Right.
primary,
And it's like,
right?
okay, we have some
Yeah.
time to
So
like
like I
build
learned
this
that
up.
it had happened before. Like some other presidents in the past had stepped down,
Oh,
and like
interesting.
in January time, and so they did a primary in
Oh,
that.
January. Yeah, but not like
Not
we're in
like,
July
not
or
this late. Yeah, I think this may be the
yeah.
first time that has been this late. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's funny because like I was in Muskoka and Tara saw it. I was like driving, and she's like scrolling social media. She's like, "Oh, Biden's out," and I was like, "Oh, it's over." Like Trump's gonna win 100. I'm calling right now. Trump's gonna win 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You had the assassination attempt, brand power. I'm not saying I like Trump. I'm just saying like we're just gonna call it as
Yeah.
like this is just what I'm seeing. And from a marketer's perspective, you built the brand power of like the meme now, your fist in the air, you can say like, oh, I took a bullet for America, which is what he's been saying. And then like with Kamala, it's like, can we make enough of a brand shift to, you know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
think it's too late to do the brand shift. And I think because of that, Trump's gonna win.
Sure. I don't think so, but we'll
You
see.
think Kamala's gonna win?
There's a higher chance now. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's a higher chance now than before. That's what I think. But you never know. There's still a long way
Okay.
to go.
Higher chance, but like enough to win. Like even my cousin, like he was saying, so Filipinos are funny, right? Because they're so like brand loyal.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's like, yeah, now there's somebody. I'm like, okay. And then like Jono's like, I'm rooting for the underdog. And I'm like, or are you just rooting because it's like a Democratic nominee and you hate Trump?
Sure.
Like if we just look at it objectively, I just don't know. Like America is a different place,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
people wise. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? They're very patriotic. So I think that,
We'll see how the. I mean, yeah,
you know what I'm
it's,
saying?
polls are not everything, but polls do show some like change, or we'll see what they say prior to the, as they get closer to the voting, and people
Yeah.
like, because I mean, there's always going to be energy shift up because it just happened. There's only been a
Yeah.
week, so
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. But
as
it's like
debates,
now stand on your word, bro.
yeah,
Like, let's see if you actually have the ability to follow through on this thing, which is what I'm like. It was cool. Everyone's like, oh, this is sick. But then what if she like does a debate? Because we've never seen it. That's the thing. It's like you've never conducted yourself like presidentially before. It's like UFC fighter, like fighters, right? It's like, okay, they're really good in like the come up circuit, but then when the big lights hit you, like all fighters talk about that, it's a different animal than when they were fighting in the smaller circuits. Because
sure,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
now, like the sound is booming and like everyone's chanting. You're like, oh, dude, this is a big arena.
Yeah.
Versus like before, where it's like, oh, I was like, I could fight in this like random gym. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's so late in the game. Like, can you really do this?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, she had some experience with debates, right, in the first primaries.
But like, but it's like now you're the president, bro.
Yeah,
You know, it's like now you're running for president.
yeah.
It's not like, yeah, him, like they're the president. I'm just the backup. Don't worry about it.
I'm interested to
Now it
know
all
what
falls on
her
you.
VP pick will be too. That's going to be interesting to see.
Imagine if it's a woman. It's like two women, right? Running. That'd be crazy. You're like, okay, here we go. But that's pretty good. That's a pretty bold move. I'd be like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, let's see how you're gonna do this
Did
one.
you talking about the VP for Trump? You know
Okay.
the Hill. There was a movie on Netflix about him or his past
No,
or his story. I would say it's
no,
called
I didn't.
Hillbilly Elegy.
No, I might have
It
heard of
was a
it,
good.
but I didn't
I liked
watch
it.
it.
I liked it as a movie. It was good, but a lot of people didn't. Well, on the right wing side, liked it a lot, but I thought the story was good.
Okay.
And it was a good movie. It's like a good to understand like where he came from, to going into I think Yale and stuff like that. Yeah,
Oh no, I think I remember that one. Did we watch
yeah.
it together?
I'm not sure if we watched it together, but I know I watched it probably there when I was there.
Is
Yeah,
is an old movie,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. A few years old.
Yeah, no, no, I'm pretty sure we watched it together.
Okay,
Yeah, because I remember that. Yeah, I remember vaguely, but
but I
yeah,
find
like
it
him trying
interesting
to.
this time. It's like he's married to an Indian person or American Indian now.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, indigenous or
No, no, no,
like Indian, like you?
like mine.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
And like she's half South Asian Kamala, so it's like
Oh, interesting. So it's like I know exactly like you can't be like you're like, oh, he's racist. Like, dude, I'm married to a
yeah, yeah,
kind
exactly.
of thing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can't play that card. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, wait, quick pause. Too much monster. One second. One second. All right, back. It's not even monster, actually. It's aloe, something from like Costco, some like energy drink
Oh,
thing. Okay, so what were you we were talking about? Like can't play the racist card.
yeah, 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 all that stuff. But we'll see how the even the Republican side take view JD Vance because it's not really a. I don't know if his camp likes it as much.
Okay,
Well, we'll see.
okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting as we get closer to this thing. There's one thing that I wrote down that we were talking about last on the podcast, and you're like, "Oh, I want to bring this up, but I couldn't figure out the best way to do it." The $200 million a day to Ukraine. Where
Mm-hmm.
you showed me this whole like breakdown video,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I hadn't even like when you think that you're sending money to an organization. Oh no, no, not an organization.
A country.
When a country, you're like, "Oh, that money's going there directly, right?"
Right.
But it's like it's actually money. The money that you send isn't going to that country. It's going to the developers of the people that will send things to that country,
Yeah.
which is a mind blow to me because everybody talks about like support Ukraine. It's like, no, actually, you're supporting America to support Ukraine.
Well, yeah.
Right. No, no, right. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
it's like,
understand.
no,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
we never, that's not in the marketing material.
No, but it's all in the information. It's all in the bill, right?
But
It's
who
like
reads that, right?
exactly, yeah. It's all. This is the
Yeah.
breakdown. This money's going here. The money's going here. Da, da, da. Like these are the weapons. This is how much these things cost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what the insane part about that whole thing is it reminds me of like, I mean, like all nonprofits do it where it's like every dollar goes towards like 90 cents of that dollar goes towards administrative fees, and then 10% or 10 cents of that dollar is 10%, 10 cents of that dollar goes towards like the actual cause itself, you know?
Hmm.
And when you a lot like you don't promote that as a marketer because like, oh,
Hmm.
then why would you donate? You're like, so every dollar I get, so 90% is going towards your administrative fees. The only ones that really promote that are the ones that are able to figure out how to make 90% go towards the cause and 10% to administrative fees. Okay. So with this whole thing, it's like, what a hustle we're all doing because you see so many, like if you switch, all right, here's the marketing campaign for that. Right now, the current marketing campaign, send your money to that country so that you could support them. Okay.
Hmm.
Or you say, send your money so that America can make stuff to help support them.
Hmm.
It's all about framing. Which one are you going to pick? Both are true, but which one sounds better? And they went with the one where it's like, no, we're not going to talk about supporting America. You know what I'm saying?
Who did
It's
that?
like
Who said that?
everyone. Like that. That's
No, no,
that's
no, no,
all.
no.
That's
That's not.
why
That's
I didn't
not.
know. Okay.
Yeah,
What do
yeah,
you mean?
I'm saying like who's making that framing. I don't think the government or Biden's government wasn't making that framing. They were. It's everything's in the bill, right?
Right. But right. I'm saying like social media, like the people that are promoting this message, like support Ukraine, support Ukraine, support Ukraine. You're like, oh, I'm support Ukraine. Right. But if you said, because the reason why this all started is because I sent you that one thing where it's making fun of the guy, the leader, remember? And then
Yeah, yeah,
he was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, he's getting like $1 million a day, but for doing nothing. And you're like, actually, that's not even true. And I was like, what do you mean? Because like this is what the meme said, you know?
yeah.
And then
Mhm.
like you
So
showed
it,
me that whole Wall Street Journal thing. Yeah, yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
so it depends on like which side is viewing the meme, right? On the Democrat
Exactly.
side, I think it's like we're supporting them through. They may not know. I think if of course if you look at it, but like on the Republican side, it's more like, oh, he's just throwing away our money.
And you're like, no, he's not. He's
No,
supporting your
he's
jobs, bro.
supporting
Your
American jobs.
economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the war machine, bro. This is what nobody realizes. Like the military industrial complex is how they make money, you know? The reason why America's on top is because they're the best military.
Hmm.
But if you look at how they pulled themselves out of World War II, they were in the Great Depression.
Hmm.
Remember, we all remember the Great Depression. Everyone's like, oh, we have no money. And then they pulled themselves out of the Great Depression through World War II. They're like, if we manufacture weapons, we can create jobs. And those jobs will help support our economy because it gives people work. Okay. And people forgot this, but
Hmm.
this is the foundation of the military industrial complex, basically the war machine that's supporting like their economy. Their economy is built off war, right? And maybe that's why, like, I've listened to a lot of journalists talk about this. We've never been, not we, but like America's never been outside of war since World War II. Because right after like the Vietnam War, like they kept manufacturing different things to send them back to war. And then um, I was listening to like Freeway Rick Ross, the guy who this is a crazy, you know about him? Not the rapper.
No, no, no. I don't think so.
Okay, so
Maybe I don't know.
this is a true story, bro. All right, he was in Barry Seal. You remember Barry Seal? Friggin' the Tom Cruise movie. That was a good movie.
Tom
He was
Cruise
Barry
movie.
Seal was flying in the cocaine.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, remember Tom Cruise and
yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
was American something.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Uh
American Spy. Was it?
American
Not
Made, maybe.
American Made. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what happened was Barry Seal was going to Colombia, flying, I think it was Colombia. Sorry if it's not Colombia. Um, he was flying in the cocaine from there for the CIA. And then they were selling it to the black community in
Hmm.
the form of like crack. And like then you were also selling it to the higher ups because crack and cocaine are the same thing. They're just mixed differently. Like one's a lower substance than the other one. And they hired this guy, Rick Ross, who was like an ex tennis player. You can go listen to this on Joe Rogan. He was an ex tennis player who was hired by the CIA, but he didn't know it to send to sell it to the streets. And he was moving like billions of dollars a year in
Hmm.
cocaine. But he like didn't know the suppliers. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna sell this, right?
Sure.
But then when
Yeah.
you trace who the supplier was, it was the Americans, the CIA.
Hmm.
So it's like we know that you're doing this nefarious thing about like um shadily sending like money like drugs throughout the black community and like I don't know celebrities. But like now the new thing is the war on drugs, right? Like crackdowns because like if you can't create a war externally, you create one internally, which is
Hmm.
what the genius was. And I've seen so many things about this where if you look at the military suits that they have to go into these crack dens and like these low impoverished communities, and like if you watch even Straight Outta Compton, the movie,
Hmm.
the opening scene where they're in Compton and then they use the tank to break down the door
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
all the SWAT comes in, like that's the military industrial complex. You either create a war outside or you create a war internally,
Hmm.
and both create jobs and money, right? So like, should Americans be really pissed about this Ukraine thing, or should they be pretty happy about it?
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah.
saying?
Sure.
Like I feel like but when you find that out, you're like, dude, am I being played? Is everything like, am I being played about everything in this world? You know what I'm saying? Like this like chess game of Kamala Harris versus Trump, and then now this chess game of like war. And like, yeah, we're gonna make them think that they're sending money to Ukraine, and then the bleeding heart liberals will be like, yeah, I want to support Ukraine, and then like the conservatives know like, oh, actually, you're supporting like internal jobs, so they're both happy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if we don't promote that you're actually supporting yourself through this military industrial complex, you're gonna altruistically think to yourself, like, hey, I'm doing a good thing. I'm supporting Ukraine.
Right. Yeah.
But then the Republicans are like, you're actually supporting American jobs, so we're happy. So both sides are happy.
Hmm.
It's just the messaging that you promote.
But it's, yeah, which side of the news you're watching, though, right? That's the
Exactly. Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
That's the
And
problem.
then that's the question. It's like, are we just being played? Like,
Hmm.
is it just, I think this goes back to like what we said last week about impartial news. We don't have impartial news, and because of that, it's like we're we're being framed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
framed, not framed like,
No, no,
set
I
up,
get
like
that. Yeah,
framed
yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
framing.
You're where your, yeah, attention and emotion lies. It's being controlled by whatever you're seeing. But
Yeah.
we were watching this on was it New York, not New York Times, it was
Well, Washington Post.
Washington Post, right? Yeah.
So the thing you're saying, like this whole like money thing, it's not even like you're like, oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. Washington Post put this out, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
I still haven't cut it up. I will cut it up after this one, but yes, you were using a trusted news source. It's not like this is the thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. We're not going anywhere else.
like
Yeah.
when right when people
Yeah.
are like, hey, why do you believe in UFOs and UAPs? I'm like, the Washington, I think it was Washington Post as well. They put the UAP article out, bro. If we're not going to trust a trusted news source who vets their information,
But
what
it
are you going to
depends.
trust,
But
bro?
the thing is this, right? There's also who's, I think it was even Washington Post or New York Times about that. Oh, America has been funneling this war to happen in Ukraine. Remember
Oh
something?
yeah, 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 yeah. I
Remember
remember
that?
that. Yeah,
But
yeah.
those are like headlines either on the right wing that was mainly pushing that thing. But if you actually read the article, they weren't pushing any war. They were denying requests that Ukraine wanted, and okay, we can help in this way, but we're not doing any
Yep. Okay.
military
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah.
military stuff,
But
right?
that's who's gonna deep dive the article. You did.
Yeah, I know, but because the thing is this, right? Is I understand who's going to deep dive, but if you really want to know, you have to deep dive. If you don't really want to
Yeah.
know, then you're just going to read that one side, and you just want to fill up your hatred or love for America, whichever
Okay.
side that you're on.
All right. All right. You know what's crazy about this whole thing that we're talking about right now? Okay. So I swear this is gonna be related. So I was editing you see the New Hoking t-shirt. So we went to New Hoking in downtown Toronto because like it was in the
Oh right, yeah, yeah,
friggin'
yeah, yeah,
Kendrick Lamar,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So so Tara saw me editing it, and then she's like, "Oh, you just put out memes, eh?" And I'm like, "Oh, it took you forever to realize that like that's what I'm doing, right?"
Mm.
Like I guess because we don't pay attention to each other's social media, but like I'm just chopping up little sound bites of like information or things I think are funny or entertaining or like creative,
Mm-hmm.
insightful. And then I saw this thing about like it was like a Star Wars meme. I don't know if you saw that, but it was like, Grandpa, you participated in the meme wars. What was that like? Right. And then I was like, oh, meme wars. But Elon Musk was like the one who rules the memes, rules the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you really think about it, and I had to look into this, is like a long time ago before like the word meme was starting to get popular. And then somebody said like it as a joke, but I was like, what does meme actually mean? Because we think like etymology, the meaning of words all matter, right? So meme means mimetic.
Hmm.
Okay, so like what that is like packets of information that get transferred from one person to another. So it's just knowledge,
Sure.
right? And and all of this is just like it's like it's like knowledge that we're spreading, and the algorithms are getting so good at figuring out what to send to us that we're building these walls of like I only understand this. And what you said was like who's going to look into that? And like you're like, oh well, if you really care, you're going to look into that. Okay. So we were watching the Truman Show yesterday,
Hmm.
and they mentioned like, oh, God's a great painter who painted the sky. And it hit me. I was like, wait, people actually really do believe that there is a man in the sky that's painting our reality or had created us or um like is divinely guiding us. No, because like
Yeah.
you and I are like, wait a minute, no, this actually makes no sense, right?
Hmm.
But really though,
Sure,
right?
sure,
But
sure.
there are
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people that really believe this, right? And like if you watch the Truman Show, like they're talking about it, and I was like, no, like obviously this is fake. This is like Santa Claus, bro. Like if I was like, yeah, there's a dude in the North Pole, just every year, just gives you Christmas presents, or like Tooth Fairy when you lose a tooth, right? Okay. So like, see how ridiculous it sounds? Okay. So I realized because I grew up with this.
Hmm.
Even I was like, oh yeah, there's like somebody who created us, and then like the Bible's real. The Bible's the word of God. You can't touch it, right? And then you go to Rome, and then you're like, wait a minute, they don't like the Vatican? Why? And then like, yeah, because they just use Emperor Constantine as a political power to collect all of these stories and then use it to push a political propaganda. I was like, wait, what? And they start looking at the Bible. Okay, so I realized the reason why people are mostly religious is because they haven't looked into it about everything, dude.
Hmm.
Politics, religion, UAPs, everything, marketing. It's like the only reason why we're stuck in these waves of thinking is because at a certain point, like let's say you're in high school, like I went to a Catholic high school, everyone's like, yeah, you gotta pray to God, man, because like if you don't pray to God, like he's gonna make you go to hell. And I was like, wait, what? How does science work then? Where do we go consciously? And then you learn about all these things, right? But it's like they've actually just stopped. They're like, okay, what's the next? All right, now I just gotta learn about accounting so I can get an accounting job. Oh, okay, I should go learn. You know what I mean? Like the growth of learning has stopped. And I think that's why people literally still believe there's a man in the sky that's painting the clouds.
Hmm.
You're like, dude, you know how cloud works? Like you know how like
So
science,
yeah,
you
I
know what I'm
get.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. It's also, I think, if you, as you said, if you look into all these things, then the world gets complicated. To make it
Yes.
more simple, I mean, religion does make it a bit more simpler to understand,
Yeah.
and let God be God or whatever.
You're like, bro, how did those clouds get there? Man, this guy painted them. Like, oh, true. He's such a great painter.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
or yeah, whatever your
the
destination.
hell?
God's the one that set your destination, or this is supposed to happen, God willing, I mean, all that kind of stuff, right? So.
But where do you draw the line? So like my like Tara was like, oh, I really want you to ask them because like, and I know a lot of religious people, and I'm like, she's like, people really believe word for word that's in the Bible, like people that I don't like, my family believes word for word what's in the Bible, and I was like, no, if you actually go to church, he says they're allegories. Like the
Hmm.
priest will like say, I don't go to church anymore, but when I was like growing up, they'd be like, there's like a story about like a father who gives his savings to his son or something, and one puts it in the ground, one invests it, and then it's supposed to be a story about
Hmm.
like reaping what you sow. It's like an analogy. And then she's like, but then wouldn't it all be an analogy? I'm like, no, they tell you which one's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, bro. So how do you know which one's an analogy or not then?
Hmm.
So is it the Jesus story analogy or is that real?
Hmm.
Is the story about like the mustard seed and like the planting for the future real, or is that like an analogy? You know what I'm saying? Like they're literally picking and choosing. And it's like okay, there's a man in the sky that's painting that. Oh, then you find out about clouds and like cloud
Sure.
freaking
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
science.
Yeah.
And like, no, no, yeah, that's real. Actually, this like he actually didn't make that.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud science is real.
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, so what else? You know what I mean? It's like you're just like
Either
confused, bro.
so it could be a, yeah, there's an issue with if it was their understanding of science or some way to answer a question at the time, but then it became
Yeah.
dogma, which was the issue, right? Which was there's no adjustments, right? You can't
W-
adjust. This is
right.
what it is.
Which is what we've always said, which is spirituality and religion are just the science of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, bro, you didn't know. Like, that's it. You know, Buddha doing all this freaking meditation stuff. He didn't know what he was doing. He's just like, it's what do you call that? Like observational
Yeah,
science
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
You're just like, okay, or anecdotal science. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
because Aristotle did that too. Like the philosopher Aristotle,
Mm-hmm.
he was
Yeah.
also a scientist. So he was just watching birds and he was writing down what he was seeing about birds, and then that became like science of the time. It's like, oh, birds are able to fly, they might have hollow bones, maybe that's what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, birds have hollow bones. It's just like we're all just trying to make sense of the world that's around us. And some people just stop trying to make sense of it and they just believe whatever now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But really
Yeah.
though,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's the differentiation point where it's like you and I are willing to see new information. We're like, okay, how valid is that information?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's valid, okay, that's the new source of truth,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
right? We're not going to be like, how valid is that information? Oh, it's very valid. It's made by the devil.
Yeah.
Devil's trying to trick
No,
you,
but
bro. No, but that's what I'm
it's
saying,
true.
right?
It's
That's why
true.
you're laughing because you're like, wait, no, no, that people do that. You're like people do that, bro.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So what's with society, bro? This is why we're like, oh, we're brainwashed or
Well, no,
like,
no, but I think we said that before too. We're the minority.
yes. And it's just, and what's the minority? You're like, oh, you guys are a minority of what? And like of looking into information, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. Just like
But
how
it's
valid is the
always been like
information?
that, right? Scientists have always been the minority, right? Even
Yes. Yeah, yeah, totally.
Galileo, it was locked up. You're changing,
Yeah, that's true. If you look at all the like the forerunners of
yeah.
science, they were all
At least in
ostracized.
the Christian world, yeah.
I really think that the Christian Crusades is what brought everything down because that's what the Dark Ages was. And they're like, "Oh, Dark Ages." People like say it like it's nonchalantly, like it's the Dark Ages. It's like no, that was literally Christian knights going around and killing everyone that didn't believe in Jesus, and then burning all the books that um
hmm
like had nothing to do with Jesus. Like I think that's even a part of like one of the times that the Library of Alexandria got destroyed. When we went there, it was burned. Like there's been a bunch of
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
natural
yeah.
disasters, but one of them was they went in and just burned a bunch of books.
hmm
And it's like what information was lost? And like, okay, so I know you probably haven't looked into the whole Billy Carson thing, but like Ancient Aliens now, I'm like, it's just making the most sense, bro. Because if you want everyone to believe in like one God, then what do? You just destroy all the books that have nothing to do with one God.
hmm
Like if your book talks about like or the Dogon tribe in like Africa who believe that they came from Mars, right? If the Christians had found those books, they just burn all of them. Like, no, that didn't happen. But
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but they literally said we went from Mars, bro. Like
Mhm.
we're not gonna look into it. But
But it's happened. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's lot of things have been lost when you think of supremacy. When you go and act in supremacy, that
yeah,
yeah, like the Hawaiians, they lost their actual like when the hula. Hula is like a dance now, but it was
yeah,
some sort of demon, or they call it a demonic martial art kind of thing. That is like,
yeah,
no, this has to be banned. This is too demonic.
yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, actually. I don't think it's colonization because colonization, you're like, oh yeah, just like damn colonials.
hmm
It's like, no, dude, like colonization happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like as soon as one organization or like one culture goes to another culture and spreads, even through like economics now, right? You see a
hmm
lot of Korean places like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's colonization, there's a
Mm.
recolonization. I think it's supremacy. It's white supremacy. Like, like the people that, so, okay, why was Genghis Khan not considered like, oh,
I don't
damn
think it's
color?
necessary. I don't want to say it's just white supremacy. I think it can
No, but it's
happen in.
Europeans though. No, I'm saying like the Christian crusades were European.
Yeah, but there
The
was different
people
ones that
that,
did different things in other cultures too, right?
for sure,
Yeah. So I
right,
can't.
totally. Yep. No,
Yeah.
no, I know what you're gonna say. So, like, have you heard of the Byzantine Empire?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so people who don't know about this, there was a rift. I learned about this in Greece. It was like I had never even heard about this before. We had gone to the Vatican in Greece, and they talked about the Byzantines. So the Vatican went west, and the Byzantine went east. But they had a whole different perspective on how to share religion. So the Byzantines went east, and they're like, "Hey, if you like your religion, you can keep it." Whereas the Vatican and the Christian Crusades, they were like, anything that's not us will be burnt out,
Mm-hmm.
stomped out. So it's like that was the rift. So when you're saying like, oh yeah, but they did a different thing, it's like, yeah, but the mindset was different. Yeah, you can go around to Japan, but like if you believe in Shinto, bro, like believe in Shinto, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I'm not saying it's just Christians. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But no, it's not just Christians, but the reason why I said white supremacy is because the Europeans, the white presenting people of Europe literally went to North America, saw like indigenous people like, oh, I'm gonna
Well,
create these
they're, I
camps.
would say that's the recent ones, but it happens in the past too, right? That's why there's like a lot of clashes between Muslims in India and stuff because that
Oh,
came
okay.
in from the Middle East.
Okay, or you're
They have
right.
the same
You're right. Touche, touche. So
books, right?
it's
Similar
just
books.
supremacy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
That's what
like,
I'm trying to say. Yeah.
yeah. I see what you're saying. I'm just thinking about white supremacy because we're in like North America and I'm
Sure.
like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
why is it this way? And it's like there there are, you can see it though. It's like favoritism for, certain presenting people
yeah, yeah, yeah,
compared
yeah, yeah.
to
Of
other,
course. Yeah.
like, okay, so like I work in an industry where it's like outdoor industry, and like we're putting together this book right now, and I'm like collecting more stories for volume two, whatever. This is all public knowledge, so I can talk about it.
Mm.
You can go download volume one right now. So all those stories are just about like people that have been marginalized by the white supremacists, white community, right? And then like for volume two, I'm just collecting more stories, and as I'm reading them to like copyright, I'm like, I see what's going on here.
Mhm.
Like that's the issue. It's like the supremacy that you talked about, but more specifically in North America, it's white. So
Mhm.
like, yeah, you do see supremacy over one race towards another in like other cultures, like you're saying, the Indians and what was it? Persians?
No,
Pakistanis?
no, it's like the Muslims that came in.
Muslims, yeah.
But these are like I don't know, hundreds of years ago, right? When these
Yeah,
things
so
have
any
happened,
any kind
but
of
there's remnants
supremacy
of
is
that's been left behind. Yeah.
right. So any kind of supremacy is like negative because it's like the um not stomping out of, but like hierarchical, like you don't matter what
Hmm.
we do
Hmm.
kind of thing. And that is like we're not sharing knowledge at that point.
Yeah. Correct.
But also you can't fix it because like the people that believe in Jesus, you're like, Jesus could have been real. I'm saying the people that believe word for word the Bible, it's like, what are you talking about here, bro?
Hmm.
Like, do you even know about like the other verses in the Bible, like the book of Enoch that was like not included?
Hmm.
There's also like the book of oh, I forgot what it is. There's like another apostle that they're like, nah, don't put his book in there. But like you're like,
Sure.
why
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
and choose, right? But you're like, why did you pick and choose specific ones? Is because Emperor Constantine, you can go look this up, which is crazy. Just
Mm.
nobody looked it up. And that's why you're stuck at that one point. Emperor Constantine was ruling Rome, and then he's like, okay, let me use this religion to help prop myself up. But I need, because like the mind is stronger than the body. If I'm like, hey man, just kill yourself, the mind will be like, why am I killing myself? But you're like, hey man, kill yourself in the name of God. You're like,
Hmm.
ooh, I will do that. Right. So he utilized the Bible as a means to indoctrinate and like spread, you know, his might.
Sure.
But if you don't look into that, then you're like, oh, it's like word for word the Bible. You're like, no, actually, that's a propaganda piece.
Hmm.
Let's call it what it is. It's propaganda, right? And
Yeah.
like, and that's why we're here today because nobody's looking into it. right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we do have the internet, so you can look into it. It's the
That's
beautiful thing about the internet.
yeah. That's the difference between then and now.
Yeah, infinite information. You're like, you don't believe anything I'm saying right now or what you're saying? You should Google it,
Yeah,
bro.
but I was watching that Rome show. It was easier back then to how to control people too, like the
Mm.
releasing the amount of grains, so how much food they get. Right.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah.
It's like if they're only thinking about food, you you have them in control, and you can put on those entertainment shows and
Get ready. Debt.
yeah.
That's the new thing. Think about the prices of how expensive things are.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh damn, I gotta buy this. Oh man, like I need this. And then you go into debt for these things and you're enslaved to debt. And then you're
Hmm.
like, that's the new grain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I can't quit this job. I'm
Sure.
locked in.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's that's the control mechanism now. It just moved from one, the tactic is the same, it's just the medium is different. Before it was grain, now it's like money.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't we're doing the same things, bro.
It's the
Like,
same things. Yeah, it's always repeating.
but the difference, and I'm excited, it's like the internet's only been around since 1993.
That's the difference. I think the difference is the how quick we have information now.
It's been
That's what
it's
made it even more
yeah,
right.
it's 20 years of the
Even
internet, bro.
before, yeah. Think about it before. Yeah, it's like you have to go to a library to find a specific book. Like it's not
What are you
how
doing, bro? Yeah.
like it's more likely to that's probably why religion has survived so long, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And they're saying like, oh,
It's like
religion's
the one book that you can easily get.
yes, and everyone will buy it and they'll read it. They'll be like, oh my God, this being loves me so much. And like a lot of people, like Russell Brand has just converted to Christianity. And I'm kind of like as soon as you tell me that you're believing in something wholeheartedly, he got baptized, he's like wearing a cross now. I'm like, I have questions.
I don't
Like as
know.
soon as you go deep into that, I'm like, I have questions,
I
bro.
find that weird too because it's like now his audience is more on the right
Oh,
than
so he's maybe playing them.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
No, but see,
possible
that's
too.
exactly what I mean. I have questions, bro.
Like
So like,
his audience shifted. His audience shifted
yeah,
to
it did shift.
right.
Yeah, it did.
So
Yeah.
and it's like
Somebody needs to
why
play that
Christian,
game.
right? Like that's odd. Um,
It's true. And but he talks about like Christ consciousness. He's like, so it's not, well, we'll finish. I had some topics, but like, I know we both got to go. So like,
mm,
we'll finish on this, like this topic. But so he's like, I've really fallen for Christ consciousness. Right. And so now what they're saying is Jesus isn't real, bro. You don't have to believe in Jesus. You have to
mm.
believe in like the thought process that Jesus espoused. And I'm like, that's true. For sure. He had a lot of good lessons. You know who else had a lot of good lessons? Socrates. You know who also had a lot of good lessons? Einstein.
Hmm.
The Emerald Tablets, Buddha, freaking the Mahabharata has good lessons. Like there are lessons everywhere, bro.
Yeah, yeah. So why just the
So
one?
why are
Mm.
you propping this one up so hard with your little cross? You know what I mean? But you're like, oh, his audience became right wing. You're like, there it is. You're playing the game, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know? I've said this like multiple times where um it's like you can't well, all right. You know what a genjutsu is?
I think no, I don't remember it now, but
It's like Naruto. So
yeah,
like
I
they'll
know it
put you
was
under a
Naruto,
spell,
but okay,
right?
gotcha.
So that's why I have the Sharingan, like one of the first
Oh
tattoos
yeah,
I
yeah,
had,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
Sharingan. Because I was like, oh, I get the game. And it's like you can't out Genju a Genjutsu specialist.
Hmm.
Right. And I consider myself a Genjutsu specialist. It's like I get the game we're playing, bro. So like when I hear this kind of stuff, I'm like, all right, what's the deeper meaning here? And like you too, you're like, what's the deeper meaning here, bro?
Hmm.
Like, are we being like the question is, are we being played? And
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you can feel it. Like, why does it have to be Christ consciousness, bro?
yeah.
Couldn't it just be all consciousness? Couldn't it all just be like knowledge? Can't you just say that?
True. I mean, he
Right?
was
But
saying
like
those things kind of
he
thing
was saying
before,
those
right?
things, but now he's like so deep. He's like, I'm so like down with Christianity. I'm confused. I'm like, I thought you were an open spirit, bro. Like taking lessons from everywhere,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, maybe it is just like the marketing of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you actually think about it, it's like 1993 till now. We're in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 20 years. No, no, 30 years? 30 years
30 years. Yeah.
of the internet. 31. This is very infantile, like
It's still. Oh yeah. Yeah.
industrial.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, where are we
There's
going?
like yeah, like we didn't grow. We grew up, but it wasn't there when we were born, right? Now there's kids that were
Yeah.
born with the internet. So what
Yeah,
happens with those people?
totally. What, but I mean, I think that's why I think we're going through the growing pains of like everything matters and like blah, blah, blah. Like,
No,
it's
there's
like,
both sides. There's both sides. There's that's what I'm saying. There's left and the right. That's
right.
happening.
No,
There's
but
a clash.
right. And I think we're in like that, the meme wars. Like I was saying
Oh
before, it's
yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
you participate in the meme wars. It's like, yeah, just like what you put out matters. So it's like, which side are we going to toe? And I think eventually it'll become centrist
Mm-hmm.
naturally. Like people will just like, be like, this is true, this is not true. Because you just Google it. Like every time I'm listening to a podcast, I'm like, I'll pick up that book or like, let me look more into it. Let me YouTube that video. Like, see if you're really talking about something. Because what's his name? Russell Brand even posted that thing about like,
But it also depends on like how much time. Like I want to post some things to you guys on Instagram. They're
okay,
like videos from TikTok, but I can't go. I can't give
because
you
they're not
more.
cross platform. Yeah, yeah.
No, no, no. It's not like
Oh,
that. I can't give. I can't. I can save the videos and put it, but I'm limited to only 1 minute on Instagram. Well, I'm not on TikTok.
no, 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 no. Reels, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like to send it
Unlimited
to
now.
you.
Hmm? Send.
Uh, in our
Oh, like
messages.
to
Yeah, yeah,
drop a
yeah.
video.
Yeah, in the DMs.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about posting it because you could post like
Yeah, but
long videos now.
I don't really post
Post,
anyways.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I get what you're saying.
it's just to send DM you guys, but I can't even do
Oh, I didn't know
more
that.
than a minute.
Okay. Oh, and that's why you send the links. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense. The, all right, one thing because I'm like cognizant of
sure,
time,
sure.
that I wanted to bring up. So we were watching. This is related to the internet. We were watching the Truman Show because
Mm.
we're really into like reality TV shows, like me and Tara, and we are like, but I was like, getting sick of them. I'm like, I want to watch a movie. Like, hey, just keep watching, you know? So then she's like, all right, like what movie? And then we're like, oh, remember Truman Show? And I was like, oh, dude, yeah. I was like, it's just like a reality TV show. The
Mhm.
movie's about a reality TV show. And then it's just basically a 24-hour live. If you haven't seen it, it's 24. It holds up. It's so good. It's 24-hour live stream of this person's life. And basically he doesn't know that he's on a reality TV show and he's starting to realize he's on a reality TV show. So on two fronts, one, I was like, this could happen to real people. Like I remember as a kid, this was traumatizing to me because I was like, what if that was real?
Mhm.
It's like too intense, bro. And then you can have a psychotic break. Like from his perspective, I was watching it as if he was having a psychotic break. If it was real
Right.
and like, oh, this dude's breaking down. He's like, no, you're lying to me. Like this world isn't real. And you're
Mhm,
like, oh,
mhm.
that's what people would do if they're having a psychotic break.
Yeah, yeah.
But on the converse side of that, they were hinting at where we were headed, bro.
Mhm.
Because Tara was like, so there's this one scene where they're doing an interview and it's just like on the side. It was such a genius way of filming it. It just showed Truman eating his breakfast. Nothing was going on.
Right, yeah.
And throughout that whole scene, they were doing a side interview with like the show's creator. But you
Mhm.
could still like picture in picture, right? And Truman's just like eating, he's like doing nothing, he's just like whatever. And then Tara's like, well, if they were doing like a live stream of me right now in this Truman Show kind of thing, it'd be boring. And I was like, no, there's IRLs.
Mhm.
People will later like on Twitch,
Yeah.
you know, like you love IRLs. And it's like they're just going around, they're just doing nothing. And I'm like, dude, we've just put ourselves in a Truman Show.
Mhm. Yeah.
Trippy.
Yeah.
We're just all different Trumans.
Mhm.
Even this podcast, bro. No, but for real though,
Yeah,
like even
yeah, yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
right?
That's true.
Somebody's gonna watch like only this podcast, like, oh, that's their life, bro. I'm
Mm,
like,
mhm.
you know, and like I made that video of like Muskoka yesterday, and it's like, oh, that's his life.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
dude, I'm a consumer product.
Yeah, no, that happens a lot. Yeah, that's the thing. Uh, People fall in love with a character, but it's not
Yeah.
the whole character. It's not the whole
Dude,
person.
I was tripping out. I was tripping out so hard because like I'll watch. So after I made that video, I was like, oh, let me just like look at some old videos, right? And then I was like, oh, so to me, I was remembering all the things that happened to me, right? Like, I was like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, like while I was on the trip, you know, like oh yeah, that was cool, and then, oh yeah, these are great memento memories.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I create them because like I'm like they're
Mm.
just like creative outlets, right? like us going to the Philippines. Like, oh, that's cool. But then I was like, wait, what if somebody just watched only these videos and they're just watching me as a character now? And I was like, dude, that's trippy because it's like, oh, I'm a character to
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but to me, I'm human. And I'm just like, oh no, this is a snippet of my life to make me remember something. And like I was saying before with these podcasts, like don't like it's if you and I were on a walk, this would be no different. We'd literally be talking the same.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more swear words and like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
crazier
Yeah. Yeah.
stories, you know? Like I'd be more like very blunt about like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but the topics would be the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was like, oh, we just record this, right? It's like, but then if you only watch this, you're like, they're characters, bro. They're characters in my like in my social media sphere that's
Mm.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
perspectives, bro. It was like last week with like we're all just having our own video game and like everything's rendering specifically for us.
Mm-hmm.
So like to us, somebody like we're a render for someone.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We're their
For their
entertainment.
sure.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like what like worlds within worlds, bro. It's so trippy.
Yeah.
Truman Show.
I don't think I've seen it. I'll check it out.
Oh, it's like a classic, bro.
No.
You have to buy it on Apple though. It's like 16.99. You can't get it on any streaming platform unless you use like a,
Sure.
like a Just
V.
Watch or something.
Okay.
Or what? Or
VPNs.
VPN. Maybe, yeah, I don't
If it's
know.
in other places. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it is so good. And the quality, like it starts off with like low res and Tara's like, turn it off. I can't watch this. I'm like, no, they're filming a TV
Right.
screen.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
once it
Okay.
actually gets, it's actually high def. So don't get thrown off by the first scene. They're
Mm-hmm.
filming a TV. But then when the actual movie's happening, it's like it's high. They re-rendered it to make it HD. But watch it, you will be like, oh, this is what we're doing with everyone's life, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We're all fake. We're all real, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're all
Yeah. Well,
entertainment.
but yes.
It's like the
Yes.
Kardashians, bro.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like thinking about the Rome time. The entertainment was whatever's in the Coliseum stuff. Now we're generating the entertainment for.
Yeah. So like
It's
we'll
all
see
about
the
entertainment. That's what.
Gladiator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
You finish your thought, and then I'll just say the Gladiator thing.
Yeah, like we are now generating our own entertainment in a sense, right? Like we can watch all these different things.
Yeah, dude, totally. And but we only see the one facet of it. It's just like looking into it deeper. It's like, Brad Pitt's not really that character, right? Brad
Yeah,
Pitt's
yeah.
like a
Of
normal human
course.
being.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, like that's us being like, he's
Sure.
normal, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah,
people are
yeah.
like, oh my God, it's Brad Pitt.
But
He
you're
was
only
my
going to view
favorite.
him in that character because you love
That's
that
what I'm
character.
saying,
But that's
bro.
not him, right? You don't know what he actually is like.
That's what I'm gonna say about the gladiators. So like you're like, oh yeah, the gladiator, the Roman time. So like they'll bring them out and everyone will see him for like 10 minutes of the fight. They're like, oh, he's amazing. And then he'll go back down, like puke or like
Mm-hmm.
freaking
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah, yeah.
normal, like eat breakfast and be like, whatever. Like we cut out all of the boring stuff, but the boring stuff is that's trippy. We cut out all the boring stuff, but the boring stuff is what makes us human. But when
Yeah.
you see like these highlight videos, when you see like when I was like, hold on, pause right now, I go to the bathroom. You didn't watch me go to the bathroom and then come back. We
No.
cut it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
Right.
right, cut out the boring stuff. If I left it in, you'd be like waiting, like, all right, when's this guy coming to the bathroom? Be like, oh wow, they're normal people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, bro. But this is what the internet's honest. I highly advocate Truman Show. It holds up and it's mind blowing because
Mm-hmm.
we're doing it now. We just don't know we're doing it.
Right.
All right. Anyways, with that, we went 5 minutes over. Sorry. Uh,
That's fine.
but yeah, until next time, take it easy.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.